Alright, so Black Asta is a bit of a controversial unit just because of how his hybrid skills work, but is honestly a pretty cool unit. I just obviously Black Asta's design is just raw as hell. Um, I feel like there's points to be made as to why he's not fun, and personally, I think I can have fun with him, but not all the time. For half mana unit, it's a bit disappointing, but I still love Black Asta, and as you can see, I've been max duped with his skill page max duped. So yeah, no, he's a defender, which puts him like a bit low on speed, but very high in CC, as you can tell, 74k. So I think that's honestly pretty cool that you can get to have your favorite unit at such a high CC. So yeah, honestly, pretty cool unit overall, and I mean, yeah. So let's start talking about his skills, how exactly he works, and basically, I'll just explain his passive real quick. But not go too much into it. We'll go into it more later. Basically, below 40% HP, he gets anti-magic, and that anti-magic is going to be making him do more damage also, depending on his defense. Now let's talk about his skills, and then go to the passives after, like I usually do. So without it, he's going to be getting block HP recovery on the skill 1. It's a normal single attack, which, by the way, he only has attack percent because it is an Asta. Then his skill 2 is going to be adding increased defense level 3, which is the highest defense increase we have in the game. The only other people who have it, I think, is Season 2 Summer Charmy, and also just SR Noel, the Red Noel, have the level 3 defense increase. Then it's going to be a AoE, right? So it's going to be very good. And with the skill page, it's going to be adding total defense, which makes it that all damage received is blocked damage. And blocked damage, first of all, means you can't be crit, and blocked is also where it's going to reduce up to 30% of damage. Now, on his ult, it is a very high ultimate attack scaling, up to 300% attack on the ult. And it's going to be inflicting, the taunt. So single target taunt on the enemy without anti-magic, and then his combo is going to be stunning guaranteed, which is honestly a pretty strong combo skill. Now with anti-magic, he gets kind of crazy to where with it he's going to be getting 8 SP points on his skill 1, which it just like gives him his ultimate right away after he uses this with anti-magic. Now his skill 2 is going to be doing ridiculous damage, and it's usually the first skill you want to use after you get anti-magic, to where it's going to be the spelling barrier on one target, and then the rest are just going to be just dying like immediately, right? Pretty good AoE scaling. I think it's what, if I look, it's 110% at max, which is a bit lower than usual, but for a skill 2 that also the spells barrier, it's nice. Now the ult is with anti-magic, it's a guaranteed kill, guaranteed. You dispel barrier and you're doing 300% attack with the increased damage. Yeah. Now going on to his passives. So his unique passive, obviously it's one bit lower than 40%, he gets anti-magic. And then when he goes back up, he removes anti-magic again, okay? Now, per 1500 defense, he gets 15% increased damage dealt from this, which could get very high, right? Very, very high. And then he also gets, like, stun block immunity when he has anti-magic permanently. So the minute it gets removed, obviously, he also loses the stun block. Now, his passive, or his dupe passive, should you be duping him out? Well, let's look at his stats, first of all. These are all the stats he gets. 24% crit res, 1000 defense, 2500 attack. It is very good stats, and honestly it is pretty worth it. Getting the taunt when you fall below 40% is honestly probably, well, when you get the anti-magic, is probably not the craziest, but getting this, it's going to be giving the guaranteed stun block for the whole team turn 1, and that is a very, very strong effect that I think many people need to realize how good it is. And in terms of if you want high CC, max duping him is the way to go, because crit res gives him an extra, what, about 2000 CC. Usually it's a lot less, and just in general he's getting a lot. So yeah, no, I would recommend it. How much is he getting from this? Oh, it doesn't show the actual dupe amount, but yeah, so gonna be good. Honestly, duping him is not bad. The passive is pretty good. He has very, very nice passives. So, I mean, yeah. Now, as for skill pages, now we go right back to Pride to Win. He doesn't have many. The best one is this because of what it gives, to where it's going to be adding the total defense, which means if you put these two skills together, increasing defense plus total defense, reducing up to 30%. I mean, you're not taking much damage. No one is. And then the passive itself for Asta is the best. So it's mainly the way you kind of need to get it to make him like really viable if you want to use him as a DPS, right? If you want to use him as a tank, you can, but as a DPS, you wouldn't need this skill page. How exactly it works is that when you do have anti-magic, you're going to be getting a further 10% up to 25% damage dealt per 1500 defense, which could over double the passive itself. That's 15%, where this could be up to 25 as I have it. So I'm getting 40% increased damage dealt per 1500 defense, which is insane. Now, if you don't have it, using this one to increase the damage dealt is going to be good. Increasing your defense too, you're going to be even tankier when you have this skill page. And then this one is also going to increase defense. ASTA doesn't have many options, if we're being for real. Anything else is not really good options, because increasing his attack is honestly not the way to go. Not really, but if you do want to use it for his attack, which I wouldn't really recommend, you can use the attacker one, so it could literally only be well, I guess actually no, there's two that you could use if you're trying to use him as a DPS. It would be this one, and then in the SR range, it would be this one. These are the only two, but I would recommend this one over this, because obviously you're doing, it's a lot of increased damage dealt, so increasing your damage further is not a bad idea at all, right? Now let's go to his talents, talk about what's good here and why. So for these two, obviously he has only attack, so increasing his attack is not a bad idea. Then here, increasing his damage dealt. Okay, so those are the two main ones that I would recommend. Now for the bottom, obviously increasing his defense and the defense per wave by 4% is going to be strong. And then here I would recommend decreasing the skill cooldown. Having a 20% chance might not seem like much, but being able to reduce the skill cooldown by 1 is still very strong and honestly very worth it. His skill 2 is the main part of his kit. And then increasing his accuracy and pen is probably better than blocking, since you already have with the skill page a guaranteed block chance. Now for the middle slots, I would recommend attack and magic attack probably the most. Even if he doesn't have the magic attack, just increasing his attack probably is the way to go. If not, you could go for the crit damage one, which where is it? Right there. So you could go for the crit damage one too. But especially now with probably more Astas running rampant, that means more total defense, which means less critting. Now here, obviously just giving him straight defense is the way to go. And then for here, I gave him speed. You could maybe give him HP. I didn't want to make him too tanky though. The one that would probably give the most CC is HP, then crit res, and then speed. But I just like, he has such low speed that I'm like, at least we'll try to get his speed up. Now, for gear, I'd say this is probably the best sets. If you're running him with Witch Queen, then do not run the lifesteal. But if you're running him with Witch Queen, then sorry, if you're not running him with Witch Queen, do run it, I would say. So lifesteal gear is very hard to come across, I'd say now especially, but before it was like kind of a lot on JP. So I don't know, you guys are going to see it in arena now on global, but for people on JP it's kind of hard to get it again. But lifesteal gear is not bad. You want to run full defense main stats for these four, and as for the substats, you want to go for defense percent and attack, and then any crit values is not bad. As you can see, I have defense percent, attack percent, defense percent with attack. Then I don't have defense percent here. I gotta change that. Then I got oh, here either. Okay, I gotta change some stuff. I didn't realize I had so few without defense percent. So we're probably gonna be able to get him back up to 75k CC. Now as for the accessories, we want defense, defense, and then well, whatever you could put here. But for the sets, I would say speed, defense, speed, defense, and then lifesteal is probably the best, or speed, defense, attack. Those are the two that I would recommend people use. I wouldn't go for anything else really. Yeah, no, I really wouldn't. The attack is just there because it's like you could use it with Witch Queen. Definitely use the attack instead of lifesteal, because she's going to be giving you lifesteal on her own, so there's no point for the lifesteal. But yeah, that's how I would recommend using the Black Asta. You definitely want defense. Speed is not a bad idea, and then the last slot is really up to you, if anything. So that goes for his gear. Now let's go to his teams, and then we're going to talk a bit about how to use them on each one. So team number one, I would say it's like just William, Asta, and then anyone else you want. I would say a barrier. Just having a barrier, someone like Rhodes would be good. If you want to go for double barrier, not a bad idea. Now the way this works, your damage reducing with William, you're going to be just not, you don't use the barrier yet, then you don't use the barrier yet here. You're just increasing defense with Rhodes, I guess. And then Asta is going to try to get chipped down. And then when he does get chipped down, hopefully no one else dies. And then you could have the you get the anti-magic, and then you use the barriers. Then once you have the barriers up, once he has his anti-magic, you're not really going to be dying, because the barriers are going to be not counting as HP. So he's going to have the barriers plus the anti-magic, having the health he needs to stay alive, and it's going to be good there. Now, what else you could do is that Asta taunts, and then you still keep the barriers up turn 1, but because Asta taunts, he's going to be the one taking the brunt of the hits from Julius, etc., stuff like that, so that could be good. Now, if not, you could also put Charlotte so that Asta gets debuff block, but I would recommend having another attacker in the team so that Charlotte does not give her barrier that she gets at dupe 2 to Asta, and she gives it to someone like Noelle instead, so that Asta could still take the hits, but she's going to be applying them with debuff block, which is very strong because someone like Julius increases his skill 2 cooldown, and then it's kind of GG for Asta because of the fact that Asta wants to use his skill 2 when he's under the anti-magic. Now, another team that I've seen used, and I actually made a video on it yesterday, I think, is Asta with Witch Queen. So you put Asta with Witch Queen, and then from this point you put a speed unit to speed everyone up. And then the last slot for me, I usually put Rhodas or Hell. If you don't even have Rhodas, what's funny enough, you could use the you could use the SR Noel. You just want someone here, this slot, to increase defense. And why that's good is because the more defense Asta has, the more he's gonna kill. Now, why this team works is because Witch Queen reduces his HP to 30%. She reduces the person on her ult, she reduces the person with the lowest speed to 30% of their HP, and that's going to put him in anti-magic range. Now, she also gives lifesteal, which means you have one attack with the anti-magic, but it's going to allow you to really go crazy on this team. Valto speeds you up. Noelle is second. Okay, Noelle's before Witch Queen, doesn't really matter, but Noelle's second. She's going to increase his defense on ult, increase the whole team's defense. And Witch Queen is going to be then applying the ult, reducing Asta's HP to 30%, which means on this skill 2, he cannot get the increased defense, and he's getting the remove barrier since the skills change. And then he's going to be just basically nuking, right? Either Noelle or Rhodas, doesn't really matter. You could put Charmy, but she heals, and it might, when it becomes Asta's turn, it might heal him too much, because obviously you get the increased defense level 3. But so does Summer Noelle, not Summer. I keep on saying Summer Noelle, but I mean to say SR Noelle. So yeah, that's another team that I would recommend. Or hell, I've seen this team work. William with Asta. That's it. That's genuinely it. Now, if you want to play safe, though, what you could do is you could run Asta as a secondary option and have, I don't know, I guess Julius here. Where's Julius? And then you could run Rhodas. Okay? Just a team like this. And the way that Asta is used in this team is where he's just there to apply the defense increase plus the total defense. And then Rhodas, barrier, Julius goes for the DPS. So yeah, you could do something like that very easily, and it's going to work very well because Charlotte gives her 54% damage reduction, and Asta's making it. You have every type of defensive buff. Defense up, total defense, which reduces damage by up to 30%, and then you have the damage reduction by 54% on Charlotte, so you're taking pebbles on this team. You can replace anyone for the Rhodas and Julius spot, just make it so that there's another DPS, and you're going to be chilling. And then if somehow everyone does die, then Asta is going to be able to get his anti-magic. So I'd say in this type of team, he's very much a last ditch, but you're not trying to get the last ditch. He's just there. It's a more boring team, but it works. Now, Asta without and with Scope H is a very different unit, but I would say that it's kind of needed, which I guess it's like, damn, how do we milk them? How do we milk them? Oh yeah, let's do this, right? Make it that for 20k crystals you could actually get Black Asta Scope Page, which I find very funny, but thank God I got lucky. I got a Scope Page like 4 or 5 times with I think it was 4 times, right? Yeah, 4 times, because I had 3 technically, so I used 2 of these universal dupes, but getting 4 of these is crazy. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions, but he's a very peculiar unit. I do recommend checking out the showcases to see how I use him in different teams and how not to use him in my different teams. So yeah, that's basically it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.